A sitting vice president on Monday, a former vice president by Tuesday, and almost out of the political discourse by Saturday. That is the story of Jagdeep Dhankhar. The last 5 days have seen a dramatic story play out, from being labelled as a Modi government's man, more loyal than the king, biased in favour of the ruling party as Rajya Sabha chairman, to now what clearly seems to be an ugly fallout. Amidst all this, the opposition, which was once a staunch critic of Jagdeep Dhankhar, has suddenly found new love and showered praises on the now former vice president. Apparently, the India bloc plans to even host a farewell dinner for Jagdeep Dhankhar. But the mystery behind Jagdeep Dhankhar's dramatic resignation is one of a kind. The parties involved are tight-lipped and speculations are on in full swing. Dhankhar cited health grounds as the reason for his resignation. As theories, source-based reports began coming out, it was clear that health isn't the main reason here. Then, this cold, curt post by Prime Minister Modi on X all but confirmed that the end of the BJP-Dhankhar relation was bitter. Now some details are trickling in as to what could have happened behind the scenes, what ticked off the government, what ticked off Jagdeep Dhankhar, and how did this seemingly warm and comfortable equation suddenly become so bitter? We look at all those details in this video. Hello and welcome to Simply Put. I am Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. Now we'll keep showing you the reports as we go along because of course every story here is source-based. Sources in the ruling party, sources in the government, etc. In a nutshell, the government's unofficial version. Now one aspect that multiple news reports have made clear is that Dhankhar's resignation wasn't knee-jerk. It was a slow burn. It was in the making for weeks. Then came a tipping point. That's when the government and Jagdeep Dhankhar said enough is enough. They were fed up of each other. Dhankhar reportedly marched to Rashtrapati Bhavan, apparently taking the president also by surprise, and then he resigned. In retrospect, government sources are saying that Dhankhar was crossing a Lakshman Rekha and trying to assert himself way too much than what the government was expecting from him. Now let's elaborate on these points. Now the tipping point or the trigger for this fallout was the impeachment motion against Justice Yashwant Verma. India Today reported that in the run-up to the monsoon session, the government had informed Dhankhar about its intention to move an impeachment motion against the High Court judge at whose residence piles of cash was found. The Vice President was told that this motion would be moved by the government in the Lok Sabha and then in the Rajya Sabha too. News 18 says that even a day before the monsoon session began, Kiran Rijiju, the Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister, personally reminded this to the Vice President. At that point, Jagdeep Dhankhar was tight-lipped about a counter motion from the opposition which was making on the same issue, despite allegedly meeting opposition MPs. He did not tell the government or Rijiju about it, is what is being reported right now. NDTV says that senior ministers including Arjun Ram Meghwal, Kiran Rijiju and JP Nadda met him in turns, urged him to wait to let BJP MPs be part of the motion against Justice Verma in the Rajya Sabha and to allow time for a consensus to be built. But the Vice President apparently did not commit anything. Matters escalated on Monday, which was day one of the monsoon session. Now, despite the government's messages, Dhankhar met opposition leaders and then accepted their motion against Justice Yashwant Verma. In fact, Dhankhar even read it out in the Rajya Sabha that he had received such a motion from the opposition camp.
I need to inform you that I have received notice of motion under Article 217, 1B, read with Article 218 and Article 124, Sub-Article 4 of the Constitution of India, along with Section 31B of the Judges Enquiry Act 1968 to constitute a statutory committee for removal of Justice Yashwant Verma, Judge of the High Court of Judicature at Rajasthan, at Allahabad. This has been received by me today. It is signed by more than 50 members of the Council of States, and thus it meets the numerical requirement of signing by members of Parliament for setting in motion a process for removal of a High Court judge. I direct the Secretary General to find out whether a similar motion has been moved in the House of People, the Lok Sabha.
The Modi government, of course, was taken aback. Reportedly, they were not expecting it for Dhankar. They were not expecting Dhankar to go ahead with the opposition's motion without taking the government into confidence. After Dhankar's announcement in the Rajya Sabha, Union Health Minister and Leader of the House, JP Nadda, and Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju spoke to the Vice President. Hindustan Times reported that Rijiju told Dhankar that in the Lok Sabha, there is a process of building a consensus on the impeachment and pointed out that the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, had signed the notice. He even indicated that the Prime Minister is not happy about the sudden development. That sudden development, of course, is the acceptance of the motion in the Rajya Sabha, which was given by the opposition against Justice Yashwant Verma. The Vice President is believed to have hit back strongly at both the ministers during this conversation. Reportedly, Dhankar asserted that what he was doing was well within the constitutional rules and that he did not need lessons from anyone as far as his constitutional powers are concerned. But remember, Dhankar is also a senior lawyer. He's been a senior lawyer in the past and someone who's been very vocal about his views on the judiciary. Reports say that Dhankar's act of displaying some sort of an autonomy had a huge cost in the offing. A government-backed no-confidence motion. Reports say that the government began preparation for an impeachment motion against Dhankar himself, and all of this was happening within hours on Monday evening. Some suggest that signatures of BJP MPs were sought on a blank paper at the office of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. This was to allegedly pressurize Dhankar, who preempted such a move from the government and then eventually went to Rashtrapati Bhavan and put in his papers. So, Yashwant Verma was the immediate trigger. But reports are also pointing out that the government had enough of Jagdeep Dhankhar trying to assert himself in recent weeks and months. One instance is that of US Vice President J.D. Vance's visit to India. Apparently, Dhankar wanted a meeting with Vance. Dhankar allegedly said that he was his counterpart. He was J.D. Vance's counterpart, and so he will hold a high-level meeting. The Hindu reported that Dhankar's office had not been informed of the program of US Vice President in advance, nor was he included in the program. Besides, a Vance-Dhankar meeting isn't mandated by the protocol. That is what officials are saying because of the differences as far as India and US's structure and the hierarchy where the Vice President is placed is different. And because of that, the meeting couldn't happen. Now, during his tour in India, J.D. Vance had met Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi and also toured parts of the country with his family. The Hindu also reported that Jagdeep Dhankhar he believed that he was given fewer visits from foreign dignitaries than in the past, and somewhere feeling that he wasn't being treated at par with his predecessors, that he was being left out is the feeling that Jagdeep Dhankhar had. If you look at the figures of his foreign visits, Jagdeep Dhankhar made 4 of them since taking over in August 2022. Subsequently, the frequency of his visits came down. In comparison, his immediate predecessor, Venkaiah Naidu, had 13 foreign tours and Hamid Ansari represented India on 28 tours abroad. This year, the MEA had proposed 2 visits from Dhankar, is what is being said right now, but these visits did not happen due to health concerns surrounding the now former Vice President. It's also being reported that Jagdeep Dhankhar demanded that his photograph be displayed alongside those of the Prime Minister and the President in the office of ministers. He also allegedly pressurized multiple times for all the vehicles in his fleet, in his convoy, to be upgraded to Mercedes-Benz cars. Of course, much of these instances and theories are being attributed to government sources. We haven't had an official word from Dhankar's side, of course, and neither from the ruling party on all of this. So all of this is still in the realm of speculation and source-based information. But the larger point is this. If you speak out of turn or try to assert yourself in any way, the Modi-Shah BJP does not approve of it. And in case they decide to strike, if you get too much, there's very little option that one has. Jagdeep Dhankhar is one such example. He preempted that the government would go after him and hence he decided to resign without facing whatever consequences that the government may have thought. But that leaves us with the question, is Jagdeep Dhankhar going to be the only one? Or do you think there will be more such cases in the future as far as the internal dynamics of the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned? That's all we have for this episode. Thanks for watching.